And we are live from Ibiza for another edition of Café Diem, our first one in September, with my guest, good old Vicky Godfrey. How are we, miss?
Hello.
How are we doing today?
Yeah, good. Hi.
Hello to everybody who is joining us or maybe thinking about joining us. It is a new month. It is a new look for Michelle. If you haven't noticed, I am missing my front tooth. And what could 2020 be without imperfection? Everything that we've gone through in 2020 so far. Everyone always commented on how perfect my teeth were. So in true white lines fashion, I lost a bet and had to take out my front tooth.
That's you.
But in all seriousness,
masks come in handy at this time of the year.
Yeah, I can just, I just stick a straw through it to drink my coffee nowadays.
Why you spend your teeth? There's always a plus side, isn't there? A bright side.
There's always a silver lining. It's one less tooth to clean. But in all seriousness, I had some dental surgery and everything is still a bit tender. So I'm not going to be wearing my false tooth. I'm going to be owning my gap. So not only are we going to be beating a second wave, Vicky, honoring our health, unconditional love, we're going to be honoring ourselves the way that we are, all of our imperfections.
That's right.
Awesome. So Vicky, welcome to the cafe, to the very first one in our autumn series about our immune health. We're going to be talking about vitality. We're going to be talking about purpose, nutrition and movement all this month. So it's quite an exciting month for us. And I'm really happy to have you as my first guest, Vicky, because you are so passionate about nutrition, about health, longevity, vitality, all of it. And I'm looking forward to hearing your story, to be very honest with you, because I don't know where it originated. So before we get into your story, a real quick one. Vicky is a Harley Street nutritional therapist. She's also a practicing yoga teacher and does retreats in Ibiza. I think maybe even one as soon as October, if everything goes to plan, as well as the co-founder of something exciting called DNA.PAL, which if you stick around for the full 30 minutes, we will get into. So really exciting. I'm really happy to have you here, Vicky. And I want to know what's brewing for you today. I don't think it's a hot drink. Tell me, what are you drinking?
Today's a smoothie.
I love it. You come to the cafe for a smoothie.
I don't drink coffee. I never have. My nan used to make me drink it when I was little. And I always hated the taste. And she always used to heat it up with hot milk and pour it in. And it was horrible. And she would say, drink it, it's good for you. But I was a tea drinker. So I always got my caffeine from tea. And I've got the caffeine sensitive gene. So I now going into genetics, I tend to try and work with my genes. And so I try and I do use caffeine. If I'm really, really tired, I'll have a cup of tea. But other than that, it's a smoothie with maca powder and strawberries and celery and spinach and flax seeds and probably some other little bits that I can't remember.
I love it. So like I say, first guest on our autumn series here is talking about health. So instead of having coffee, you're having a health promoting, a health giving smoothie.
Yes.
I love it. That's I do want to talk about the caffeine sensitivity, but I'm going to save it for just one moment. And if you were to go for a nice cup of tea, where would you go in Ibiza? Is there somewhere in Ibiza, or you just don't even go out for a cup of tea?
No, I tend to go out for smoothies. I tend to get people to meet me for a smoothie. They go, oh, let's meet for a coffee. I go, oh, let's meet for a smoothie.
I like it.
Which works, and they can have whatever. Passion, I quite like Passion. There's a couple of cafes on the main strip that I really like.
Like
I can't remember any of their names. One, Catal, I like that cafe. There's one really...
Catal closed. There's something in its place now. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, no more Catal.
Shows you how much I take when I'm driving through the high street. And further down the bottom of the high street, near towards where Banana Studios used to be, there's one on the side there that I work out of sometimes when I'm here. when I need to get away sometimes. So I don't know that name.
Yeah, but I would say that, yeah, definitely not a big tea culture in Spain, is there? So I like it. So we're gonna leave the coffee by the side for today. I'm drinking coffee today. I've only started drinking quote unquote bulletproof coffee last month.
Do you use MCT oil? Or
I didn't, because I say quote unquote bulletproof because I just use organic butter, organic virgin coconut oil, and some sea salt and give it a whiz, and it's like I really enjoy it. Otherwise, it's good old just a black coffee for me today as well.
Quite a lot of people use the bulletproof for weight loss. I know a couple of people that are doing it at the moment with the MCT oil, the medium triglyceride in there to aid their weight loss. So,
definitely not.
Not for you. You don't.
No, but it's interesting though, right? Because there's so many things that are touted as like weight loss, and really the only thing that you're gonna really use like short term is a calorie deficit. So bulletproof coffee is not going to. You're not going to lose weight if you drink bulletproof coffee. You've got to have it as a whole package, don't you? As a nutritionist.
Yeah. I mean, it just everything can help. So with the there are studies to back up that MCT from the medium chain triglyceride can aid or support weight loss rather than that being your magic solution, which some people do. They buy these pills, don't they, off the internet and go, oh, this is going to help, but then they don't adjust their diet or do any exercise.
Exactly. And it's like, if you want a long-term strategy, you're not going to get it from a short-term thing. Imagine if you were drinking like, oh, I'm going to drink all my fat loss bulletproof coffees, and you had like 5 or 6 of those a day. Firstly, you'd be like caffeinate. You'd be like,
right, from the anxiety and the speeding up your metabolism and the stress that you'd put on your adrenals.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, okay, cool. We move on. So very clear, a health promoting smoothie for Vicky Godfrey in the morning and a bulletproof coffee for Michelle Reed today. That's what we're drinking. Awesome. Okay, great. So we've talked about coffee. What I want to talk to you about, Vicky, because you are a fountain of knowledge when it comes to this, is caffeine sensitivity. So something that you can determine with DNA.PAL is if your caffeine sensitivity. And how did you find out? Like what should people look out for if they could have caffeine sensitivity besides doing a test and then understanding, but just like some things that people can take away right now? What would be
the biggest thing we see in people is sleep problems, hypertension, or anxiety.
Yeah.
A lot of people, and some people, some clients that come to clinic in Harley Street, or I see them on Skype or wherever, some refuse to give up their coffee and say, I'll just live with the anxiety because they love that ritual of that morning coffee. They love the taste. So, there are some good decaf versions out there. If you've got that ritual, so then it's trying to guide them to a better decaf version. Because again, decaf has lots of chemicals to strip the caffeine out. So do buy a good quality one that uses water to strip out the caffeine.
Yeah, the Swiss water. Actually, Mecca has a very nice, they do some really nice decaf as well. So always bring it back to Mecca. We only drink 2 types of coffee in this house. It's either Audio Mogul, who don't do a decaf, or Mecca, who do a lovely decaf. But it's interesting though, because especially with women and like you say, their adrenals, I know sometimes I'm really looking forward to doing this test because I do think perhaps I do have a caffeine sensitivity, but I love coffee. I love the taste of black coffee, like organic, single origin. Like I'm pretty snobby about my coffee, obviously. That's where Café Diem was born. But yeah, like sometimes the decaf just doesn't, but it's a caffeine addiction, isn't it? So people can just become addicted to having that caffeine in the morning. And then, so if you do find out you have a caffeine sensitivity, what could be some way to kind of, what would you suggest instead? Obviously, health promoting smoothie on your end, but what are some of the other things that they could do to either wean themselves off the coffee or?
No, I mean, there are a couple of different alternatives. Chicory root. Have you ever tried chicory root? That's quite popular. No. So that's quite popular as a coffee alternative. So just guiding people to other alternatives as a start.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a psychological barrier, an emotional barrier that can go with it with some people, and depends on if you grew up in a coffee household, I think that also plays a part in kind of your influences from the household growing up. I grew up in a tea household. My mum and dad still drink about 15, 20 cups of tea a day. They never drink water. They're really thirsty and they're like, oh, need a cup of tea. And I'm like, what about some water? That will get rid of your dehydration. Oh, no, it's got to be tea. So, you know, there's a whole thing that comes with it. But I mean, chicory root is another thing that I would suggest to people.
Okay, cool.
Dandelion root, which then also cleans up the liver. And we recommend not really, you know, more than 2 a day and past midday, really, especially if you've got that Adora gene. And then that is the gene that tells you whether the coffee is going to disrupt your sleep at night. Interesting. Some people can drink a coffee straight before bed and sleep fine, and other people are up till 6 a.m. the next day. So
that's fascinating, because we had that conversation. Maze and I had that conversation when I had her on last month about the people who can think that they can have an espresso right before bed and then like get a really solid, restful sleep. So it's all dependent on genes. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. I like it. Okay. So we're going to move away from coffee and caffeine at the moment. And now you are going to spill the beans, Vicky Godfrey. You are going to tell me, you're going to tell our audience, you tell everybody on YouTube how you got into, how you started. So like I said, yoga, nutrition, and now DNA health. What got you into this?
So I was a producer of, I had a production company. We had 22 staff. We had 2 offices, and it was brilliant. But it was 7 days a week. It was 18-hour days. Sometimes you didn't even sleep. Sometimes I'd get home at 5:30. I'd lie in the morning. I'd lie on the bed for 1 hour. I'd be back in the shower by 7:30. I'd be back at that desk by 8 o'clock on a deadline delivery. Client says jump. You say how high. Don't get me wrong, I had some amazing experiences. I have travelled to some amazing countries. I've worked with some great, amazing people. I've been gifted Louboutin shoes for jobs, and you know, went around the world in a week to China and Tokyo and Russia and Geneva and everything in 7 days, and was very sick when I got back on the plane on the way home. They asked me if I needed a doctor. I said, no, I just need sleep, because we'd travelled across so many timelines. But all of that was amazing. But I wanted children. I was 37, getting close to that 40, knowing that I wanted to have children and that lifestyle. It's a juggle, you know. So there was that. But there was also, I've suffered migraines since I was 14. Okay. And it's all with my menstrual cycles, and I've tried everything: acupuncture, reflexology, herbal medicine, Chinese medicine, and I go to India every year for a month, or I did pre-children. I've been to over, I don't know, 11 or 12 times, and I'd always go and do a month of kind of Ayurvedic yoga every day for 90 minutes and completely change my diet. And I'd come back and I wouldn't have a migraine for 6 months. So I did this for 3 years running, like no migraines, which was amazing. And then a teacher training school moved in underneath my office. And I was like, oh my God, yoga's been brought to me. So I signed up, became a yoga teacher back in 2010. Amazing. But then I kept hearing all these words that I didn't know much about, and they were like posh, healthy words. And so I went to the College of Naturopathic Medicine to just have a chat about, you know, what you could learn. And before I knew it, I'd handed over my card and they'd taken the deposit. There was no way back, and I wasn't quite ready for that. And even the first day of lectures, I went back to the director of studies and said, can I get my money back? I can't do this. This is too hard. She just laughed and said, no way. So, and it was the best thing I ever did, doing that training. And then from there, we do several weekends on genetics. And they encourage you to go and get your genetic tests. So I was stood there in Tesco's after getting my results for my genetic test, and I was stood in Tesco's just going, what do I eat? I just want to know what to eat for my DNA. I just want to know to optimise my health. So I phoned Kate, who had already been working in genetics for a little bit longer than me. And I just said, I've got the name, it's DNA.PAL. I want us to be the PAL to everybody's DNA results. And it needs to be an app with shopping lists. It needs to tell people how to eat for their DNA and to optimize their health. So that's really part of the journey. And then advanced cancer care I studied for a year as well, which also blew my mind. I learned so much on that. And again, I did that really to protect me and my family, because cancer's 1 in 2 right now. And the World Health Organization states a much higher number by 2030. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's real, and it's toxicity. The world is 84,000 known toxins right now. Mm-hmm. And in early 1900, there was only 2,000 known toxins. So we've had a huge growth in toxins in our environments.
And the stress that everybody is currently going through, like even more in the last 6 months, but like it is, it's overwhelming. And chronic stress is a killer. So yeah, and even for children, the amount of children that are feeling anxiety right now, and you know, I love that, Vicky. I absolutely love it. And when you gave me, I felt like some some tingling through my body, and it's I'm really, really, really excited for your journey with DNA.PAL, because it's such an interesting thing, the genetics and epigenetics in our environment. And, you know, it's like 20% genes and about 80% environment about what is going on in our body, right? Which is...
That's it. It's your baseline. It's your baseline. Those genes might not be on. You can turn them on and you can turn them off. Almost, let's say, like a light switch. I'm not sure scientists would agree with me, but the simplest analogy.
Perfect. It's a great analogy.
Yeah. And your environment comes down to it. And I think the BRCA1 gene is quite a good example with Angelina Jolie, and she had mastectomies on both breasts. And then a lot of women, because she was in the public eye, followed her. And I don't necessarily agree that I mean, it's down to each individual's choice. But, you know, if you look at the epigenetics and you keep your lifestyle clean, and you won't necessarily even turn that gene on for it to express.
Yeah.
You know, but again, you know, if you're out every night eating the wrong foods, drinking, you know, so on, then you will can turn certain genes on. Not you will, you could.
And going back to, again, the 80% or 80-20 principle is like, it's what you do 80% of the time, not what you do 20% of the time. So, you know, enjoy the cake while you can, have a night out while you can. It's important that we enjoy ourselves as well, that we're not frightened of this, like the fear that everyone's feeling right now as well is, again, that's a killer as well, isn't it? So cool. I love it. I really do. I'm excited for you and your journey. And DNA.PAL, DNA Health launching, you said Christmas time, or when will it be free to the market? Not free, pardon me. When will it be available to the market?
You can buy the test now via our website, DNApal.me. But the actual app will come out just before Christmas. So we're working with a team in South Africa at the moment. We've actually done 3. There's been a prototype made, then a minimal viable product that wasn't quite right for market, and now it's a different build. So before Christmas we can catch that wellness, you know, the January where everybody wants to get on their wellness and
perfect. Very clear. And so just so everyone's aware here, what I'm going to do is Vicky and I are going to do this. Well, I'm going to do it myself, but I'm going to swab. And then what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go through the journey of it. And then once I get my testing back, Vicky and I are going to come back on again and we're going to go through it. So everybody feels comfortable. And, you know, when it's actually launched to the masses, everybody will get involved with this and see what we can do from a genetic point of view to actually, because everybody is so different. And there's not one right thing for everybody. And that is so, coming from the health and fitness industry and you from the health industry, it's quite frustrating when you think you could just give somebody a plan that worked for somebody else and you're going to get the same results. It's just not like that. We're so different. No. Which is what makes it incredible.
From a fitness, from the fitness point of view, where you are, Michelle, why personal trainers really like it. I don't know if you work like this, but I know a few other people that do, and they get their clients to keep a diary, And the DNA test can tell you about whether you suited to more endurance or whether to more aerobic or HIIT kind of exercise. You know, what your body is your genetics is built from, or what exercise suits you more. Yeah. And some people can be a mix, some people can be marathon, endurance, and some people shorter. And a few personal trainers have said, you know, people have to keep diaries to understand their body. So it's great that a genetics thing can tell them what suits them best, and then they can try it and work with that as well. So
cool. Yeah, I think it's very important. And I work mostly with women. So with women's health, and obviously we do really work with the cycle, as do I for when I'm training myself, our menstrual cycle. I think it's really important to honor that as well. So, you know, the day you get your period, you don't want to go do a HIIT class. Relax.
Yeah.
Have a cup of cacao and lay on the couch with your hot water bottle, you know, like don't push it just because it's your trainer's telling you to do it either. You really have to listen to your body, don't you? And so that's so important.
Okay.
Cool.
I think that's what I love about the combination of yoga, because when I teach the classes, I really work on people to listen to their body. As I don't think it's encouraged enough within our society. It's a shame that you can only come to a yoga class for somebody to encourage you, you know. And I get people to stand in mountain pose, Tadasana, which is very simple standing up, grounding pose. But I get them to really listen. And there are workshops that they get them to stand in for half an hour in Tadasana to really listen. I only keep them there for a few minutes. And you can see that some people are really uncomfortable with that. They're not used to that space. You're like, no, keep listening, keep listening.
I love it. I think that's brilliant. I haven't done one of your classes. I'm looking forward to doing it this autumn for sure, Vicky. Before we move on, because I do want to talk about your connection with Ibiza, I wanted to just mention as well that September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And so I'm wearing yellow, and I will be wearing yellow for all my 5 interviews this month in honor of, it's yellow or gold in Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. So I didn't want to miss that before we moved on to Ibiza.
Yeah.
But so having you as a mother, and obviously you who is a, promotes that sort of that healthy lifestyle. It's really, really, really good to have you on as my first guest. I'm really happy that it was you.
Oh,
thank you. All right, cool. So health, let's talk about Ibiza. Do you remember your first time in Ibiza, Vicky? Do you remember?
Oh, yes. God, I was 23. I was 23 and I was so sick when I got back.
Oh boy. Give us a snippet.
Just, oh God, we went to every club, I think we just spent something like £1,000 or just on getting in clubs or something like that.
Do you remember what your favorite club was?
Yeah.
What was it?
Pasha.
Yeah, Pasha. Cool.
Pasha, hands down. Amnesia didn't like so much the open air. I think it was just the night, the DJ, it was really hard, and I'm very vocal, love a bit of vocal house, mate. Hear a tune, sing along, dance like crazy. So yeah, Pasha, and then after that I really enjoyed my night in Manumission, and I blagged my way with the Mixed Mag team into the backstage, and I was sat there with, I don't know, Norman Cook and Zoe Ball back then. That's how many people it was back then. So yeah, lots of fun. Yeah,
I can imagine. And actually, he's been the only DJ to really play on the island this year, twice.
Yeah, was that at Pikes or Ibiza Rocks?
No, it was at Ibiza Rocks. And my partner has a residency. Here we go, the listing. He plays there every Monday. So we're really, really fortunate to be able to see him play on the Tuesday. So, but we had to sit at our beds and there was no dancing. So just admiring his his taste.
No, I haven't been able to. We've been invited out to a couple of things, and I just don't want to go.
No, it's hard. It's really hard. Ibiza, especially people who live in Ibiza, we love a dance, and it doesn't even have to be drunk or anything.
And now you can't dance in the dance capital of the world. It's just, yeah. I didn't realise, Anyway.
Yeah. Again, that could be that's another conversation as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So from Manumission and Pasha, how did you end up settling in Ibiza?
So I'm still quite between the two, London and Ibiza, because I have a lot of clients in Ibiza, in a clinic lots of clients in London, clinic in London. I still get asked to film a lot. I still pick up sometimes the producing stuff. So just before lockdown happened, I was filming a lot of the Royal Society of Medicine. And that was great because that was really bringing all my passions together and learning more from some great professors that I was shooting and then editing their interviews and stuff. So it's a real mixed bag. Someone asked me to do a retreat over here and I said yes, and couldn't find anywhere to live. Someone was walking a dog on the beach. It's complete serendipity. Is it serendipity? Yeah.
Sync or destiny too. Could be.
Yes. And he was like, "You don't know anyone looking for a house?" And she was like, "Yeah, my mate actually." And then that was it. And we've been really blessed. But yeah, I'm always back and forth between the two. But it's been a bit of a strange year this year because
just a bit, Vicky, just a bit. Case in point.
Exactly. So we'll see.
Cool. So, okay. So a bit of London, a bit of Ibiza, but your heart probably lies within Ibiza, I would imagine.
It's so lovely to be in nature.
Oh yeah.
I tell you what, it's the nature here, and it's the weather. Yeah. Even through winter, just having that, even when it's only 17, 18, it's still sunshine. It's not rain.
Yeah.
And that makes a huge difference to my mood.
Mm-hmm.
In London, I can remember on those rainy, cold, horrible days, I just want to stay in bed. I don't want to go out and see any friends. I don't even want to walk to work. Certainly don't want to walk to the tube station.
Mm-hmm.
Wind gushing and stuff. So
I felt the exact same way.
Yeah, it's the sunshine and for the children, the outdoor life, the weather.
Were they born on the island, Vicky?
No. There were 3 and 1.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, one's lived here longer than he lived in France for a year. We went to France when he was 10 weeks old, so he's never really known London. He's
lucky boy.
Yeah, he's 4 now. So yeah, 3 years in Ibiza, 1 year in France, and 10 weeks in London.
So already has the exploration gene.
Yes.
The wanderlust. We'll see how. Yeah. We'll see how long it takes them to want to leave the island, right? Where they're like, I don't want to be in Ibiza anymore, Mom. I'm going to London. You're like, no, don't do it.
Well, we don't know what London's going to look like, do we? It might be. When I was back there recently, it was a very different place.
I can imagine. Yeah.
To what it was at the beginning of the year. And it's strange to see, actually, because you're used to the hustle and bustle, but the tubes are nice.
Yeah. Benefit, right? There's like you say, there's a silver lining to everything. And the tubes being less packed is a silver lining for sure. Awesome. All right, Vicky. Now I want to have a quick chat because we're running out of time, as you do when you have a guest that you have a lot to talk about with.
Yes.
I want to talk about our beat a second wave push, I suppose. So for me, I'm going for like an honor your health. And then as a collective in Ibiza, we have some people from London as well. We're all sort of working on immune health, right? Yeah, totally. Because why are people not getting up and doing press conferences about how you can support your immune system instead of talking about about a vaccine that people have a healthy immune system don't want to take. So why? Tell me, where did this come from? What are we doing? What are we going to do? And how can people get involved? And maybe just a little word on that, please.
It's Support Your Immunity. It's a Facebook group at the moment, which is growing daily. And
there's about 500 people in that group, which is a lovely result.
Bigger considering what level the population is.
We will.
I hope so. So please come and join us. It's a bunch of nutritionists, wellness, fitness people like Michelle in the group. We're all there ready to support. So if somebody does have some questions, feel free to post in the group. And they're a bunch of nutritionists or wellness people or personal fitness trainers that can help answer the questions, or get a few different opinions that are all valid and all right, but give you some options to try for you. Because again, like you said, what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for the next person. And it's you know, some of it's quite common sense. The biggest thing I find, actually, I was speaking to someone the other day, and they've come down with something. It could be a cold, it could be COVID. They don't particularly feel bad. And I heard them in the background, like they can't, you know, when you're talking to someone and they shout to their partner, "Oh, could you get us a Coke, please? A glass of Coke?" And I'm screaming down the phone, "No!" Yeah. Sugar is the worst thing for taking out your immune system for 5 hours. So if you're in a busy, crowded place and you don't want to catch anything because you want to, sugar is the biggest thing you can swerve. I mean, there are other things as well with the vitamin C, zinc, D is sunshine. Olive leaf is an antiviral, which I absolutely love and swear by. But sugar, because it's in everything. Read labels, really be mindful of just eating sugar when you're out in crowded spaces, because your immune system will come down and then things can come in. Yeah.
So on that note, I'm going to say that sugar and refined sugar can be an immunosuppressant. Yes. So if you're having, again, it's a chronic thing, right? So if you were to have, like, I don't know, a piece of fruit, for instance, the glucose and fructose, it's not gonna, you know, you're gonna get the fiber, you're gonna get the benefits as well. But if, like you say, if you're gonna be drinking Coca-Cola all day, every day, all the week, don't expect your immune system to be very healthy, essentially, let's say, right? One thing that I would say, though, that at least with sugar, we can metabolize it quickly, and it kind of, we you know, absorb it as glycogen into the muscles or whatever. But what we can't get rid of, and I think, is our high omega-6 oils, our seed oils, all of these rancid oils that are in processed food. And you'd be surprised, even the healthy vegan things, you look at safflower oil and sunflower oil.
Oh, it breaks my heart.
It does. And I think we don't get rid of that. That's not something that our body can use. So that is going to be in our cells and our fat cells for, well, not forever, but for a good long time. And that's causing inflammation. And that is something that we need to shout about as well. So sugar.
When we looked at some of the data that we collected earlier this year, not we, but the data that was collected, I didn't collect it, but I did look through it. When we got to the younger age group, so the 85 and above, underlying health conditions, the next one down, underlying health conditions, quite a lot. I don't know what the percentage is. We're going to pass in the next 3 to 6 months. Really sad that they passed earlier, but they were on that journey already for passing. And it's really interesting when you look at the 55 to 65 group, they were all obese. So obesity and inflammation, and that, like you say, is the rancid oils, sugar, and whatever other bad things that they're putting into their body. Stress can create, stress can put on weight, hormones, all sorts of things can get stored in the body, in the fat that you've got, just making your body sick. And those were the people that struggled to fight it in that age category. So I encourage even vegans. I tell vegans to get a food processor. I say, don't buy those vegan burgers. Oh, but it's really easy, it's really, you know, it's quick. And I go, yeah, but they're still full of crap. You think you're being healthy, being a vegan and eating these vegan burgers. You're not.
Hallelujah. And that is so important, because people, like, you know, we do have, in Ibiza, we're a bit of a bubble, so we do have some extraordinarily healthy vegans. But when you're in a city and I can just eat vegan and it's in a package all the time, that is not the way that your body needs to be nourished, or your system.
Get a food processor and make those falafels from scratch, and try these veggie burgers from scratch with your food processor. There's loads of wonderful recipes out there that you can try and play around with and experiment and see which one works for you. But biggest thing, get a decent food processor with at least a 2-litre bowl and play with some recipes and freeze them. So you want that quick go-to, use your freezer.
Cool. Well, my partner has been bugging us to get a food processor for about a year now. So on that one, which food processor, Vicky Godfrey, should we buy?
It completely comes down to budget.
Another 30-minute conversation on food processors. Here we go.
I'll keep it quick. The top ones are like the Vitamix.
Okay.
But you're looking at like £250, £300. So
it's an investment in your health.
Yeah. And if you've got that kind of disposable income, brilliant. Kenwoods are really good for the lower end, cheaper. I've just invested in a Ninja one. It was £100. So it's got a 2.1 litre bowl. But what I liked about the write-up and the reviews was you don't have to stand and pulse and do it all. It's got all settings that you can just press and go. Cool. And I was like, ooh, and it arrives this week, Michelle. So I'll let you know how I get on, and then I can message you and say, yeah, get it. It's good. Or no, actually.
I look forward to trying one of your vegan burgers, Vicky.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Vicky, we're coming to our 30 minutes, and I know that we could probably have a 3-hour combo, and we'll have to get together over coffee and do that ourselves about how we are going to get twice as many, 3 times as many, 4 times as many people onto that Facebook group. I'll make sure to put it in the description below because it's really important. And again, don't be shy to ask anybody questions if you have anything. It's a space of love and kindness. So we're not going to judge anybody. You know, if you have experiences with COVID, share them.
Yes.
That's the thing. We want to make it a really open community where people can feel safe and away from the fear. And, you know, if they have any burning questions about immune health, DNA health, they can direct it right to Vicky.
That's it. I mean, you do feel the fear. I mean, my parents are still absolutely petrified.
Yeah.
They are so petrified because Dad's got underlying health conditions. And, you know, there's, you know, supporting your immune health for everybody right now should be their priority from now till Christmas. Yeah. And even just from a vitamin D perspective, especially in the UK, taking that daily from now till we come through to the next side. Yeah. D3 and K2. Try not to go to Holland and Barrett's because that is like the Primark of vitamins. Yeah. That, you know, anyone that can afford to do buy one and get one free or buy one for a penny means the ingredients just aren't that good. Same with Boots, same with pharmacies. They just don't stock good things. So do go to your local health food shop. Do speak to the person behind the health food shops. Generally, health food shops stock cleaner brands, Whole Foods, Planet Organic. I use a little company called Natural Dispensary online. Okay. If you're in Ibiza, it takes a week to get here, which I think is a great delivery time. And everything's practitioner level on the website, so you don't have to worry about quality. And then you can choose your price points because everyone's got different budgets that they're working with and different levels of disposable income. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have disposable income because COVID has affected you, you can do simple things like freeze oranges, freeze lemons, and then you can grate them and you can make your own vitamin C powder from them.
Oh, wow.
So little things like that. And then you can add to, you know, drinks or smoothies and things like that, or just add to water and knock it back. So little tips like that to be cost effective if you've been... And just lastly, because I know we've got to go because of time, like roll your sleeves up in the winter when you're walking about 15 to 30 minutes without any sunblock, anything. Yeah, your face does absorb sun, but if you can and it's not too cold, you can get your jacket up so you just get your forearms showing, just so your body can just absorb a little bit more natural sunlight.
I like it. That's excellent. And anybody in Ibiza, now is the time when the sun isn't feeling so overwhelming, is get outside and get on that sand, put your feet in the sand, put your feet in the sea, take your top off, let the girls out, and try to absorb as much as you possibly can before we go into our hibernation.
They do say that the liver stores it for about 4 months.
Yeah. So,
you know, you've got a good run. If you have sort of absorbed all summer, you have got a good run October, November, December, kind of January, and then February you're going to need to top up again.
Awesome.
But depends on what the winter is out here, doesn't it? Or where you are, whether you're UK or Ibiza for the winter.
Well, we're going to go silver lining, Vicky Godfrey, because that's what we've been doing this whole chat. So we're going to hope for, I'm not sure what else 2020 is going to throw our way, but
we've got a lot.
whatever. Well, we've got the elections in the US still.
Yeah.
So we're going to, we're just going to, what we visualize and what we manifest is really important as well. So a whole mind component, which we will be talking to Lee Strong at the end of September about mindset and that sort of thing as well. So like I say, stay tuned for the next 4 episodes of Café Diem. We're all going to really be based around, for me, again, like I say, honoring your health come autumn, as well as beating a second wave, immunity, like I say, vitality, that sort of thing. So on that one, what I'm going to say is I'm going to mention that next week, so on Wednesday, Wellbeing Wednesday, the 9th of September at 9 o'clock in the morning, we're going to have another special guest, SHEILA FALCONER. She is a passionate cook, walker, hiker, and world traveler. She's been to India, she's been to Japan, she's been all over the world. And she's also the most vibrant, and I don't want to say the oldest because that was in her bio, but she's definitely the most young at heart woman who has walked the entire length of the island with her son Toby from Walking Ibiza and a huge group. So if anybody knows about vitality as you get older, then it's going to be SHEILA. And I'm really looking forward to having her on as well. And we'll see if she's going to join us for a coffee or a green tea or a green juice, whatever it happens to be. So she's next week. And she's also part of our little Beat a Second Wave collective as well. So,
she's been brilliant supporting us on Beat the Second Wave and support your community. She's great.
Just an all-around excellent woman as well. So looking forward to having a chat with her about what she's doing to stay as young as she is and to be able to be as active and, really focus on her movement, which again, from my point of view as well, is really, really important as we move into autumn. So if you're looking to get a hold of Vicky, you can find her on Facebook. So it's ANATURALPATH. So ANATURALPATH. And then Instagram is _natural_path. And then, of course, you can find her online as well. So anaturalpath.co.uk. So she kept it quite nice and easy. And I like what you did there. Very, very clever, Vicky. A natural path. I like it. Yeah. Awesome. And then, of course, DNApal, which we'll have some more on that as we move into the month. So it's at DNA.PAL if you're looking for Instagram. And then, of course, DNApal.me if you want to find out more information, if you want to order a kit and get on this right now because you feel like you could do some honoring of your health. So that is Café Diem for the 2nd of September, our first one in the autumn series. And like I say, honoring my gap. And so brewed out of a love for black coffee, early mornings, and well-being. This is Café Diem. And if you're looking to get a hold of us, you can find us on Instagram, SoundCloud, and Facebook. Obviously, Café Diem Ibiza. And then, of course, YouTube, where we try on our passion, on our quest to see if we can get at least 100 subscribers this month of September. So just subscribe to the channel and you'll be getting excellent content all month from some really inspirational women. So it's a month of women. We're going to celebrate everything about women. And then we have a really good month and see what we can do, and hope everybody joins us in our Facebook group as well. So that's Café Diem for the 2nd of September. And Vicky Godfrey, I thank you. I really, really thank you for having a juice with me, a smoothie. I look forward to having a smoothie out with you. And I also look forward to doing this with you and seeing what my genes are saying as well.
Yeah, brilliant.
And any questions, let us know in the comments below and we will get back to you. So We'll see you next week.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Vicky. Adios, everybody.
Bye.